Hello, my name is Renee Price, and I am the founding director of Neue Galerie New York, Museum for Austrian and German Art. It is my pleasure to welcome you to a tour of our exhibition, Klimt Landscapes. This very special show features major loans from private and public collections around the world. The exhibition focuses on idyllic depictions of the Austrian countryside by the Viennese artist Gustav Klimt. It's also about his close relationship with couturier Emilie Flöge, with whom he spent his summer holidays. Although best known for his portraits and allegorical works, Klimt devoted considerable energy to painting landscapes, especially in the final 2 decades of his life. The landscapes were created purely for his own pleasure. These bucolic scenes became among his most sought-after works. Most were made in a square format, a reflection of his fascination with photography. These paintings reflect his love of nature. In addition to paintings, the exhibition features photographs of Klimt and his circle delighting in their summer vacations. And now, curator Janis Staggs will give us an in-depth look at this fascinating exhibition. We hope you will enjoy this special tour of Klimt Landscapes.
Gustav Klimt is Austria's most important modern painter of the early 20th century. Klimt was a dedicated hedonist. He loved women. We know he loved his family. He was very close to his extended family. But Klimt pursued his craft to the greatest ability that he could achieve. He was highly critical of himself. When he wrote about himself, he said that he wasn't interesting as a person. He said, "I'm a person who paints from morning till evening, day after day." And he said if you want to understand him as a person, he encouraged people to look at his pictures. Klimt Landscapes is an exhibition, really a multidisciplinary approach to looking at the landscapes that Klimt painted over the last 20 years of his career. We're bringing together a selection of landscapes and presenting them in the context of also works on paper, drawings and prints that the artists made, as well as posters, fashion, decorative arts, and even photography. We tell the story largely in a chronological fashion and in a thematic way, from his early academic work, really his early career, and then also the founding of the Vienna Secession. In 1883, Klimt made this beautiful depiction of the allegory of fable for the Viennese publishing house Gerlach and Schenk. This is really, I think, a stunning depiction of what he is capable of, really based on his academic training, both in the way that he's presenting this beautiful woman who's the embodiment of fable, but also in this kind of garden of paradise setting. And it's also one of the earliest opportunities where he gets to sort of experiment with creating a landscape as a backdrop. Our second gallery focuses on his summer holidays in the countryside, his pursuit of the Sommerfrische, literally summer freshness. With this gorgeous painting, which was made the summer after that large Impressionism show at the 16th Vienna Secession exhibition, he immediately starts incorporating this pointillist technique. He's dabbing the paint on in these vivid juxtapositions of colors. He's applying paint almost as if they are colored gemstones. And we make that connection more emphatic through the display of jewelry in this vitrine that was owned by Emilie Flöge. Emilie Flöge was his sister-in-law, but also people call her his muse, his life companion, his best friend. And he even wrote to Emilia after his second trip there, saying that the mosaics were of unbelievable splendor. Klimt undertook landscape painting really for himself. These were not commissioned works. And I think we can see how this is really an outgrowth of the rise of photography, both as an amateur and as a professional pursuit. He walked around with a viewfinder, very much like a camera, so a square shape. And so I think that interest in seeing how you could take the desire to record these wonderful summer mementos, these impressions, and memorialize them so that you could take them back with you became something that was of great fascination for him. Our last room really focuses on Klimt's pursuit of pure color, as it was called. And this is beautifully emblematized in the series that he undertook between 1908 and 1912. 7 paintings depicting a beautiful Baroque castle and its surroundings, known as the Kammerkastle. And we're thrilled to have in our exhibition the first in the series. And you can see here Klimt's fascination with the reflection of water on the surfaces, and also how he's juxtaposing these opposing colors to sort of set the eye on fire, so you feel like you're there with him. The greens are vivid. Even though there's a bit of a trace of clouds in the sky, what we see beyond that is pure blue. So this is part of what he called his sun pictures. It's a perfect day. That's what he's sharing. I think for him, the work on landscapes proved to be extremely liberating. He ultimately found his own voice, his own method of expression. And it was this dedicated commitment to really trying to hone his talent, hone his skills, that led what I like to describe as a creative nirvana, where he ultimately sort of absorbs these influences and then becomes his own. It's an incredibly fertile period in his career. After that period, he starts to conflate his portraiture with his landscapes. And in his late portraits, you see this fusion of really woman and nature, and this fascination with ornamentation, and a very expressive use of color in those portraits. I think the Neue Galerie is the perfect home for this exhibition. The intimate scale of our galleries really allows viewers to step back in time, to interact with this work and study this work, almost as if they're walking into one of Klimt's own studios. I think also the depth of our holdings allows us to present his work in this broader context. And here at the Neue Galerie, you can really feel like Klimt is almost beside you, walking you through and showing you visually how he evolved as an artist and those different things that shaped his artistic development.
I am deeply grateful to the lenders of this exhibition, and I want to thank the staff and trustees of the Neue Galerie for making it all possible. Janis Staggs is the curator of the show, and William Locisano served as the installation and catalog designer. Klimt Landscapes is supported by the President's Circle of our museum, our highest level giving group. As always, we are most grateful to Neue Galerie President and co-founder Ronald S. Lauder for his very generous stewardship of this museum. And now, I bid you a fond farewell. Auf Wiedersehen.